Hey, what's good, everyone? This is Artist of Truth, and welcome to another vlog entry. So today, what I wanted to also discuss today is how to vacuum out my truck. I got too much stuff around here, but black masculinity and how it's coming under attacks by by black females. I came across a post that one of my brothers on IG put up, and I will be reposting it, so you'll have a chance to go to my IG page, check that information out. But most of all, leave your comments on it. As well, leave your comments here. Let me just first throw this out there because I've been forgetting. But first and foremost, thank you for tuning in and listening. Your comments are greatly appreciated, but be sure that your comments stay in alignment and they are respectful. If your comments are disrespectfful, they're going to get removed. Period. Don't be ignorant, because if you're ignorant, that same energy will be reciprocated. So keep your emotional triggers to yourself. I need you to speak with honesty, with a level of integrity and some respect. All right? Simple as that. Now, share, hit the thumbs up. I greatly appreciate that. Again, share, hit the thumbs up, bring someone in, but most of all, leave your comments below. I would like to hear what you think and you feel about this particular topic. All right, so these attacks on black masculinity, and I'm not even gonna lie to you all. This stuff is so wild. I was on IG, came across a post where it was a Caucasian female completely naked. Now this is just a drawn up image, all right? So a picture of a Caucasian female, you can see the child inside of her womb. Now there's a black male that's standing in front of her completely naked with an image of a child in his stomach, not a womb, because that will scientifically, when you're talking about biology, that's just something that a man isn't born with a womb. So a male is not born with a womb, period. So I looked at it, and honestly, I became greatly disgusted by what I saw. But moreover, I can guarantee you that there have been other responses from black females who were just saying, that's beautiful. And it's like, no, that's not beautiful. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. It's just like, to me, that takes attacks against black masculinity. And what I would love for a feminist to try and come to this post, come here, leave your comment, let me know what you think. Because when we're talking about black masculinity, I keep hearing and seeing images portrayed in movies, television, about black masculinity, and black males are dressed up like females for your enjoying entertainment. All right? So Tyler Perry does it. I was like, wow. But even before Tyler Perry, it was Sammy Davis Jr. dressing up as a woman. Now, I'm not to say, I'm not saying that, you know, Caucasian men have not dressed up as women, but what is, you see more black males dressing up as women, acting, pretending, whether it's joking or maybe a serious role. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you keep celebrating that type of shit. And then what the ladies, what you don't understand is the younger generation of males are seeing that, and they are adopting into that. All right? They are adopting into that type of crazy femininity. All right? Now, I'm not saying that men do not have a percentage of feminine within them, just like women have a percentage of masculine. But the masculine doesn't overpower the feminine. It never does. Because that's not natural. Vice versa. A male can have a percentage of femininity within him, but it's not as great as his masculinity. His masculinity shows and it shines more than the feminine side. All right? Why? Because that's just the natural aspect. Things that are natural, I notice that people like to alter what is natural and make it into something else that they deem as acceptable. And I just feel like, oh, okay, all right, you want to play God, okay? I'm like, yo, there's imminent consequences behind that type of stuff, because I find it quite amusing and yet confusing that a black female will ask the question, well, where are all the masculine men at? But then it's like, you're celebrating a young boy being coerced or, manipulated into being feminine. I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. You can't ask where are all the masculine men at, but then you're totally against masculinity. So it's like, well, why are you asking about where are all the masculine men at? No, you don't need to know where we are, because we don't need to be around you. You already showing you're not in support of black masculinity. Now, when I speak about black masculinity, I am not including the negative aspects of being masculine. I'm not including or saying that just because you are masculine, then you should be physically or verbally abusive towards a female counterpart. Okay? That type of thing is not masculine. It's not honorable. It's not respectful. And for those who don't quite understand the whole honorable and being dishonorable, there are certain actions. There are things that you say and you do that will place you in a very honorable place, to where people will look at you and say, "Oh, that person doesn't belittle other people. That person is really and truly a loving person." Why? Because they're not attacking. They're not attacking black masculinity. They're not attacking femininity. Because if you are a woman, you're supposed to be feminine. That is the thing that attracts men to you. That is the type of thing that attracts masculine men to feminine women, because I don't know of a masculine man who's attracted to another masculine man. regardless of what you may say. There's no way you can actually sit up there and say, oh, I'm masculine, but you like a masculine man. Nah. That's like putting on mismatched socks. That shit ain't going together. You might want to be different, but that's a difference that most people are just looking at and be like, nah. No, you're not masculine. You're really feminine. And if that's your choice, then that's your choice. But these attacks, I asked the female, why was she so against masculinity? And she was just like, well, y'all just toxic. I was like, okay. I was like, everyone's toxic to a certain extent. So if a woman, if a female is toxic, does that mean her femininity is toxic? And she was, she tried to deflect, but I kept asking her that question. Because my thing is, when a question is being presented, you're not going to sit up here and give me some off-the-wall wiki-wacky answer that you and I both know that you're not answering honestly and truthfully. So, I told her, I was like, yo, I don't know if you have any children or not, but if you have males, then do you expect your males to grow up and be men? Or do you expect your boys to grow up and be soft? And I told her, I was like, I'm not trying to undermine you as a mother. I'm just asking you this real straight up question. Do you want your boys to grow up and be strong, masculine men that know how to respect, honor, and love a actual feminine woman? Or do you want them growing up being soft and punks and being pushed around and being said all sorts of shit and not developing a level of thick skin and being able to, put other males in their position when they step out of pocket? Of course, she kept deflecting. She never answered the question. So, I pretty much came to my own conclusion that, shit, you want your boys to grow up and be soft. You want your boys to grow up, and as Eddie Murphy would say, you want your boys to grow up and be soft. You want your boys to grow up and be soft males. You don't want your sons to grow up and be masculine and carry themselves in honor. You don't want that. Can't be. Because if your whole response is masculinity is toxic, you got another thing coming. Because without masculinity, at that point, everybody's soft. Everybody's soft. Nobody's really fighting. You just got some emotional, challenged people that are running all over the place. If you got non-masculine males around here, then guess what's going to happen? When someone attacks you, guess what? They're not going to step up. They're going to be over in the corner running just like the rest of the females. They're not. They're not going to stand up. They're not going to be the ones that's going to recognize game that's being rammed on you and then step in and correct it. They're not going to do that. They're going to be too busy at the nail bar, sitting next to you and your homegirls, talking the same conversation that you talking. Oh, girl, he dicked me down. And then this fool over here sitting next to you is like, I know that feeling. But then it's sisters, it's black females that are getting right here. Yes. You hanging around these types of dudes, which that's your prerogative. That's your prerogative. That is your prerogative. But don't talk about toxic masculinity when you don't really and truly understand masculinity as a whole. Because without masculinity, everybody's ass will be getting knocked off. You'll be looking for a man to actually stand up and have your back, have your front, and have your sides. But he's not going to do that, because if everyone is just, it's not going to help your situation. You're going to end up getting his ass knocked the fuck out, and you're going to end up getting your ass drugged, fucked, or raped. Period. We don't have, I don't see this type of energy coming from Caucasian females. And I've even asked a Caucasian woman, I was like, do y'all push against masculinity? And the woman was like, no, we don't do that. We don't do that. We might not like certain things, but we just move to the next person. We don't sit up here and think that masculinity is toxic. No. Even the Caucasian female understand that shit. Because there's some black females that don't understand the seriousness of masculinity. You can't talk about masculinity is toxic and then you looking for a masculine man. Girl, stop. It's like, come on, man, cut that nonsense out. That's not healthy, and it's not going to, and it's sure well not, is not going to help you in the long run. It's not going to help you in the long run, because if that's what you feel, hey, again, you are entitled to feel how you feel. You are. But also, a masculine man doesn't want to have anything to do with you, because he already knows, shit, I can't be me. I can't be who I am created to be, who my parents raised me to be. Because there are some men out there who are either raised in a single family home that actually turned out to be straight up legit stand-up men. Yeah. I speak from that experience. I have two of my brothers, they speak from that experience. Toxic. The only thing that is toxic about masculinity, the only thing that's toxic about that is when an individual male abuses his masculinity. And what I mean by that is when you are degrading and you are being physically and verbally abusive towards other women, especially your own. That's toxic. That's the only thing that's toxic about masculinity. Everything else I feel, is, it's an individual choice. It is an individual choice, though. But again, share, hit the likes, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. I encourage you to share this information with other sisters, because I really and truly would like to understand and provide solutions. Because to sit up here and say, masculinity is toxic, I'm just like, well, shit, if masculinity is toxic, then femininity is toxic as well. Femininity, being feminine is toxic as well. It is. Because when you have a woman, when you have a female that can sexually harass or inappropriately grope or touch a male on a sexual tip inappropriately, and she doesn't think anything is wrong with that, that's toxic. You can't sit up here and put your hands on a man and think that the shit is okay. But if he was to turn around and put his hands on you and touch you inappropriate and grope you, then it's toxic masculinity. See, that's not how life works. I don't know who in the hell told you females that, but that shit doesn't work that way. There are consequences that come behind that shit. And this is another reason why I always have that hashtag every once in a while. I have that hashtag up, why I don't take black females seriously. Because when you have situations where you had Rick Ross talking about putting some sort of drug in a woman's drink and she didn't even know it. Everybody and their mother had something to say about that, right? But when Cardi B talked about when she was doing the exact same thing, she was actually talking about, yeah, she did that shit before. Then guess what? That, oh, masculinity is toxic. All that feminine energy just suddenly went out the window. Everybody got quiet. Everyone started, all of the sisters started looking the other way as if they didn't hear exactly what she said. How is it good for the goose, but it's not good for the gander?
Coming home. Press Uconnect phone button.
Like, seriously. Like, how is that perfectly and completely acceptable for Cardi B to do? And then it's like males should be held accountable if they're doing the same thing. I was like, but you want to talk about toxic? No, what's toxic is the individual. That's basically what it is. So I'm going to wrap it up in a nutshell, and I'm going to say it like this. Masculinity isn't toxic. It is the individual. So you can't put masculinity into something that is toxic, because everyone has a choice. Everyone has a choice. You make the decision to be toxic, abusive. You make that decision as a male or a female. So you can't sit up here and say that masculinity is toxic, and then you see you see black females who are putting their children into ovens and cooking them to death. You see black females who are killing their boyfriends or their husbands because, oh, he cheated on me, or I think he cheated on me, or I had a dream that he cheated on me, or this, that, and the fifth, so I killed him. Masculinity doesn't have shit to do with that, because just like males, males abuse women, women abuse males, whether they are grown or whether they're young. So you can't say that, oh, masculinity is toxic, but then you keep your mouth shut when it comes to feminine energy, which is toxic. You can't ignore it. You can't ignore it. And you won't ignore it, because as long as I'm around and like-minded individuals are around, we're going to point that out. We're going to put hashtags about feminine energy, toxic females. We're not going to say that feminine is toxic. No, we can't say that. That's just a blanket being pulled over all women, and you can't do that. Just like you can't say that masculinity is toxic, because you're pulling that sheet over all men, and that shit doesn't apply to all men. Do you understand, ladies, what I'm saying? Get out of your emotions. This isn't anything to be triggered about. This is just basic common sense. And Candace Owens even talked about it. Matter of fact, in the description below, you will see there's a link, or I might even put the link in the comment box. But when you I don't like Candace Owens. And I'm going to say that before this wraps up. I don't like Candace Owens. I'm not a great fan of her. But I will say this much. When she makes valid points, she makes some very, very common sense, solid, goddamn valid points. And I commend her on this point that she made about masculinity. So, check it out. Leave your comments below. Click the subscribe button. Hit the likes button. Continue to share, and like this content. Because the more you share, the more the word is going to get out, the more this open dialogue conversation can be drawn, and we can collectively arrive to a solution to a lot of these issues. All right. So in the meantime, in between time, I love y'all. Stay blessed. Stay empowered. And most of all, protect your peace. All right. I'll catch up with you all later. 1.